Hello ladies and gents, I am Diffin, and welcome back to From Depths Ashes of the Empire Community Edition. In this episode I am looking to change from the localized resources back to centralized. The reason for this is I've been having a lot of trouble just basically ferrying resources between all the forces, which has just been, well, increasingly back-end work which I basically cut out of the videos. And also means that we're very likely to lose a force at some point just because I haven't been able to get them repair materials to them in time. And although I like that as a feature of the game, I don't think it's really part of the scope of this Let's Play, which is more showing off the wonderful community submitted designs. Speaking of, let's have a look at the designs of today. So to start with, we have the Burnstar Paladin Mark III by Red the Rage, as part of the Burnstar faction. So this is a walker, or walker style. I don't think it actually walks, because this was prior the spin block and spin block update when this was submitted. It does look rather fancy though. It's got a load of guns there. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So it's simple laser, some autocannons, and then normal cannons. All there. Nice. Let's see how this fares. Again, something quite weak. It doesn't look like a particularly strong design. It's only 7k. Okay, so I certainly gets Taipan. But there we go. Whoa! It lost a big part of its force there. And okay, it's definitely an aesthetic build. Let's try spawning in a second one. Yikes. They're neat, but they are definitely more of an aesthetic build than functional in this aspect. I'll spawn a couple in though, because they are really good fun. Hang on, let's just restart the designer because things are going wibble. And let's just send it against a building because I just want to see how well its actual combat capabilities is. So it's got a simple laser that just makes it instantly good, though it has difficulty targeting. And I think that is a little bit of the problem it's going to have. It's very erratic movement and all that does make it a little bit awkward to target things. But the aesthetics of it are absolutely fantastic. So I can let off a lot of its, combat prowess for just how awesome it looks. And particularly because of how small it is. A lot of mechs I've seen are actually quite a lot larger. So having a good mech sort of build like this, at this sort of scale, is really nice. Very nicely done. Next up, we have the Shadow Monk by Hikari, a 27k design, and one which I've been informed is actually really rather ridiculously potent. And oh yeah, it does look rather potent. So, I do like the shape of this. Not a very common sort of shape at all, but it flies very nicely. I do believe that these are incredibly potent fragmentation rounds. They utilise... Yes, they are. They utilise the fact that upon an 18mm round, the fragmentations are more powerful than anything you can have in an 18mm round, due to each fragment have a minimum value and each 18mm round will generate a fragment. This means that you have a much higher damage potential out of an 18mm fragmentation round than you do again out of most other weapon systems. This does make it ridiculously powerful, so I'm quite happy to send this against something like the Onyx Watch, because I think it will do so and deal with it really rapidly. As you can see there, it is very fast and firing a very high barrage of rounds, though it's a little bit far away. So just give it a moment and we'll get over to the combat properly. So here it comes in for its shots, and oh, there we go. Fragmentations are hitting. And immediately you can see there's a ridiculous amount of damage is just being dealt to the Onyx Watch craft there. It just sprays through and just churning off metal blocks and beams. It's already taken out 3 of the guns. And there comes another barrage. Oh, it's fired one of the guns. Oh, it looks like it has actually crashed itself into the ground a little bit there. Yeah, damaged its engine and walloped into the ground, unfortunately. Still, this is a ridiculously potent shot there. And yeah, it's just eating through the components of the Onyx Watch craft here. Yikes. It's run out of ammo and engine power, and yet it's still able to put out a really rather significant amount of damage. An immensely potent design, one which has potential to not be in game too long if it is too powerful, though I still reckon its erratic movement could cause a little bit of a problem should it have a nasty hit against something, or basically crash or get shot at by friendlies, which is where most of the damage I receive seems to be coming from these days. Next, we have Experimental Tank number 1 by Similian, a very expensive tank, a 58k design, and wow, I think it's a really big particle accelerator. Yes, it is, and it doesn't look particularly pretty, but I'm assuming not many of the experimental tanks I have received by Similian are really that pretty. I expect they're purely based on their combat prowess. So we'll send this against Lightning Hoods against. I think it's the Leopold. So it's taking hits. Oh, and it missed there with the particle beam. It's quite slow. Oh, and that is a very powerful explosive particle accelerator. So it just deleted the whole front. It's an instant. It's a hit scan cram. I missed there, but yeah, this is a hit scan cram cannon. It's yikes. Yeah, this is a ridiculous potential to do damage. It doesn't flip itself over due to done that, and yeah, look at that. Instantly shots and instantly deleting huge volumes of blocks. Immensely potent. This is going to be a very good design. Ooh, Steel Empire or Twin Guard, I think that will do best with. The Shadow Monk will be, I think, definitely the Onyx Watch. This is probably Twin Guard. Yeah, I think I'll send this one against Twin Guard, because if we can take out the base units of those mechs very quickly, that'd be good. The Burnstar Paladin, I'll decide basically whoever doesn't have as much. But we have the Metal Mauler, 31k design. Whether I'm not going to be able to afford all these. We'll see what I can do. I'll afford what I can. So the Metal Mauler by Charcharodon. One of the older designs I have from Charcharodon, I kind of got Charcharodon's the folder mixed up with all the vehicles I have deployed by them. So we'll send this against Taipan, because this is the sort of things it was facing when this was submitted. And yeah, two big nasty high gauge cannons there. EMP, that's right, EMP Hesh? Interesting. Very interesting arrangement. Ooh, yeah. EMP Hesh. Nice. So it's slow, but immensely potent. This would be good against the Onyx Watch or Steel Empire, just because of how ridiculously potent its shells can be. So we'll send it against the Onager. It does it missed its target there, unfortunately. But if it does strike, it could do a wow. Yeah, EMP damaging the crams, and the Hesh just breaking everything. That is quite a potent EMP. EMP is really rather nice against cram, since it EMP damages the cram gauge increases, so it can weaken crams without destroying them, and Hesh is just really strong against Onyx Watch because it creates such high AP spalling. But it looks like this Onyx Watchcraft is already disabled, and it's going to be a matter of moments before it is completely annihilated by these 2 rounds. Look at that. There's another blast of EMP going through the sides there. Well, skimming through the side. Its accuracy is being a little bit off. Yeah, it is a touch off, which is a shame. Let's have a look. It's meant to be pretty good. In fact, why haven't I thought I had not main menu. Yeah, I have got automatic detection on, so I don't know why the accuracy was so poor. Still, it's going to be an incredibly potent design, and I'm looking forward to utilising it in the campaign against basically any enemy. And finally, we have the Wyvern Fightercraft by Rishio. Wow, that's got a lot of tailplanes. And a lot of wings as well. What's your round? So gauge 30mm, a very, very long noodle barrel. It looks like it is a belt feeder. Interesting. Let's see how this performs against some of the Twin Guard helis. Jigabachi. Which admittedly is 3, but so it avoids the missiles, or the majority of the missiles, quite handily there. Let's just see how it does against aiming. Having a touch difficulty, I think it might have climbed too high and is actually having problem turning. Yeah, it's actually right up in very high atmosphere, so will have a bit of difficulty turning. But there we go, it's now firing its rounds. Unfortunately, it looks like they are just standard sabot, so a lot of them are just bouncing off. Because despite being small, Twin Guard actually have a lot of projectiles there. Yeah, so I think it's a good design, just to have a feeling it's, well, essentially a bit late for me to be utilising something of this in the campaign, since basically everything I'm facing is armed with shields. And this doesn't seem to have the ability to combat shields very effectively. So it turns nicely, it flies high, both of which are going to be very good defensive tactics. And despite not being able to hurt the enemy, it itself is still doing very well. It's flying at 70% health, which is more than a lot of designs can say. So that's a very nice, resilient, very cheap flyer, which is going to serve very, very well in the campaign, since anything resilient is really useful in my material short environment at the moment. Yes, we are being attacked by one of the forces, the pipeline, yeah, so... Okay, so first of all, let's go to options and change it back to centralized resources. So, gain constants, yes, the automatic detection is on. And go back to centralized. Swap a lane will permanently remove all material from force and put it back into central store. Yes. So now, back in the central store, I actually have 52k, which is really nice. I didn't realise I had anywhere near that amount of resources. So the fact that I do is very handy. And where's my hauler? In fact, that's one thing I can do now. If I go back to centralized, I can remove all of these components and all of these and just reduce that lag I was getting, which was really rather annoying, because all of these, as they go in back there, it causes just a slight stutter. It's barely noticeable on normal speed, but when going on 10 times speed, it does stutter down a little bit. And so I can remove all of these or won't remove all of them. I can remove majority of them because I'm going to keep these ones here to supply fuel to the front lines. But otherwise, all these ones in the back line can be removed, which will just speed things up that little bit, which will be all nice and good. Let's load us in the vehicle. So the Shadow Monk and the Metal Mauler over in Charchardon's, from Charchardon over into the Benny Blade, the Onyx Watch Force, Twin Guard, and over in this force, let's add in 2 of the Paladins and a couple of. I'll add in a couple of the Fightcraft. And then where is the Steel Empire force? Oh! Okay. Looks like we're going into battle regardless. Whether we want to or not. I don't think they're anywhere near built, are they? Nope. So unfortunately we can't use them in this battle yet. But we can do the rest of the force, and let's go and spawn in everything at a sensible distance from to prevent it all crashing into each other. So I don't know if the Twin Guard and the Onyx Watch are allied. Diplomacy, there we go, relationships. Onyx Watch. Twin Guard, Onyx Watch. No, it's just for Twin Guard, isn't it? Ah, so they're actually fighting. Oh, cool. So it's going to be a 3-way combat. So we have quite a bit of Onyx Watch forces. All very large land ships. I think there's got one of the Rhinos there as well, which is nasty. And the Twin Guard force is barely anything. Got a couple of mechs and one of the flyers. So it's mainly the Onyx Watch, which I'm worried about, which is essentially why I have deployed them facing the Onyx Watch. Thankfully I do have a couple of anti-air units which can be used against them there. Even though Onyx Watch don't really have much air units, they can be used against other ones there. So, let us begin this battle. So the battle begins at the moment, and then very quickly all of our vehicles fire at the, well, partly sunken Onyx Watch. And unfortunately, I think it's the big star in there, takes an initial hit. And there's this big array of cram cannons flying towards my vehicles. I'm a bit concerned that they're flying towards my laser plane, but then they all just sail harmlessly past. So there's not really any danger there. I just think, okay, that's not much problem. Let's go see what everything else is doing. So have a look at Richard Dustley's anti-aircraft tank there. It's big against Onyx Watch, but it is doing rather well. It's absorbing the strikes handily. And then it's also doing well. All our vehicles are doing quite well. The Stalin there, though, taking a rather large amount of damage, but it does hold the Rhino in place long enough for the bombs to strike it, which is all really nice and good. And in fact, those bombs have done a really good job at completely coring through the Rhino. And then we've got the other vehicles just doing a nice little job. Considering the Rhino is really the only target which can be struck, because all the rest are under the water. As such, I am now contemplating getting out and actually heading over to go and capture them myself, because Rambot is pretty good at capturing vehicles when they're underwater, because it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So we'll just observe the battle a little bit longer and just watch as everything just tries to fire and kill them. Nice little bombing run there. You can see all those bombs just sailing in, striking the Onyx Watchcraft just on the water's edge. Fortunately, aren't quite deep enough to get the torpedo explosive damage. From a slightly different angle here, we can see again the bombers doing well at hitting targets underneath the water. The shells just going straight down where they need to go. So I'm now selecting my target as which vehicle to jump onto, to run from, to actually go and go ramming. So here we go towards the enemy tanks, and yep, I dodge a few shells, jump straight in, and think, you know what, let's blow up the turrets, see if I speed it up. But I think, you know what, it's quite easy to capture these things, break through the engine and get to the AI. Next one, just jumping towards it and watching that thing do the side wheelie there. I do get killed, but watching the side wheelie there was absolutely fantastic. So fun. So again though, just jump straight into the destroyed turret well and kind of get forced up through the hull, but then very quickly find the AI, blow it up and capture it very, very quickly. All nice and good. Right, so in that battle we managed to capture a couple of enemy designs to get for materials, which is always rather nice. And also, I am going to repair the Burnstar Big Stalin because I didn't get to show off any of the new designs last episode really. So, yep, it gets to have a part of this episode as well. So, yeah, we did very nicely. The enemy was mostly in the water, which was, well, nice for me. But all the designs did rather nice. The Tamakios was doing its wheelie again. I really want to build something which actually does that on purpose because it was great fun. Also, before I forget, I need to spawn in the last couple of units in the Steel Empire Force. So let's just jump over to here, load in the Experimental Tank number 1, which I can't afford any of because I have run out of materials. So let's send Steel Empire Force in. It's taken out this tile. So let's go in and attack some of these other tiles there. So if we attack it towards the north, then when this attack force comes in, I can counter it almost immediately. So the Onyx Watch Force, I'm going to try and cross that river because I don't want to keep fighting in the river. It's really quite annoying. And I have just gone and scrapped all the back line of the materials. And then I'm also trying to get everything else repaired up. So now the Twin Guard Force has been completed as well, so I've renamed that. And I'm going to send them up to attack this tile here. And logistics can go straight down here now and grab all those resources. Because each one is 860, so I don't want to grab a little bit. No. Okay, the Onyx Watch is now being... They're in the water again! So they've got a couple of scours, a Polaris, a Bushcraft, and Kingfish, and a Bear. And they're just out of range. So unfortunately I am going to lose the Whirligig Miner. So I'll just, well, flee immediately, I think. Retreat. End the battle immediately. There we go. So you can be scrapped as well. I don't actually care about you. I just want to try and get there as soon as possible to reduce the damage to the pipeline. Really, the pipeline isn't so needed anymore, but it is still useful because of all these refineries, of which I have a good number now. But that's the actual now lag there, well, the not really lag, the jolt is no longer near as significant as it was, mainly because it's only half as many parts in there. So no, I don't want to do that. You see here the fuel is still low, but the materials now is much more stable. I'm not having to keep changing materials around everywhere, so it is much more useful for this campaign. I think now I've got to take on this Onyx Watch Force, which again is underwater. I've been trying to cross this river, but as soon as I have a try, they just get over to me. The Onyx Watch are a lot faster than they appear, so we'll speed through this battle at a fair pace. I'll probably end up trying to capture some of the stuff as well, just because I'm better at capturing things underwater than my vehicles at shooting at it underwater. That was observed in the last battle, but we'll see how well this performs now. And the vehicles though do actually start at a slightly tilted angle, which is a bit weird and a bit concerning. It must be because of how the land falls down very early on. So a nasty bombardment of cramshells being flung towards me. I just try and jump out towards the enemy to do capturing, but well, I am miles away, absolutely miles away. I'm dragged along with the plane as it falls. So I just decided to watch the rather pretty crams in this dark atmosphere, those wonderful traces of death fling towards my vehicles. There's a Gatling cram there. I'm just trying to locate where some of the new vehicles are. So just skim past some new tanks there, the Mauler there. Just trying to spot where they are. Unfortunately, I'm not doing a very good job of observing where they are because I'm more interested in trying to defeat these guys which are actually underwater. Hence why I'm jumping back into the first person, into Rambot. I'm hoping that I'll eventually be able to get out of this annoying situation of repairing, just trying to cross this river, because they are annoying. So jumping towards the target, I do get injured, but I am in a good location because of that to head over and try and capture everything else. So dodging shells here and there. As you can see, these are just in a horrific quick position. Not only are they under the water, but the terrain is incredibly steep, making it very difficult for, well, myself and my units to actually cause any damage. So I'm just breaking through the actual hull here to try and find where the AI is. I know it's now underneath me, and I break through and damage it, capturing it very quickly. So the next one, I try and break myself in, but because it's vertical, it's not very easy, so I'm actually having to break myself through the metal bars here, and metal beams breaking down without many points into my actual damage is taking a long time. I should really respect my character at this point. It just made it a lot quicker to capture this vehicle. But I do eventually break through, find the AI and blow it up, capturing it in relatively quick order. A lot quicker than what it would have been taken to destroy it. Right, another underwater battle there. So let's get across the drink and see what we lost in that battle. So those two guys get repaired. Oh no, the Gatling Cram got killed. Oh, the Doughboy and the Starling get repaired since they were not shown off the last episode properly. Home Defense on Wheels, Challenger 2, the Heavy Tank and the ADS Laser Hover all doing okay. But unfortunately the Gatling Cram, well, part of it has been destroyed. So unfortunately, you are defeated. Now, you did serve well, but yes, unfortunately, you are defeated. And we also get the Bombard, or 2 Bombards there, for extra materials there, which put us up to a really nice, tidy sum. Excellent, we can actually attack this force now. So let's try and get over there before this battle starts. So I think the battle starts in 5 seconds. So we'll bring in this force. As can be seen, they're ready to go nice and early, but I need to bring in everything right at the front. Try and make it so that it doesn't crash into each other. It's going to be quite tricky because of the distance they're going to have to travel. Okay, so the layout's a bit like that. They're quite heavily spread out, so hopefully we'll do nicely in this fight. So where's the enemy? They're somewhere. Let's begin the battle. The enemy is over in that direction. So let's head on over and see how the battle goes. This is a bit of an irritating battle because it is over such a long distance. So just trying to see what's going on is going to be a right pain. But what's straight away out to see is that the Polaris kills itself. This seems to be a fairly common problem, but I don't think it is so much a problem with the Polaris's design. That has been fixed and it works fine in design. It's just that a lot of vehicles, it's a fairly common thing with Ashes of the Empire, is that they spawn slightly on the ground. So as soon as the battle starts, they get launched right into the air. And in the case of the Polaris, it's the 2-part design. So it has the launcher and the missile. And so when the launcher gets thrown up, it hits the missile, detonating it, flinging the ejection rounds all over its own forces. Which, to be honest, makes it quite easy to defeat. Still, as we've seen, if it does get that nuke in the air, it does a huge amount of damage. And we've actually done quite a bit of damage to ourselves, but see, most things are well into the high 90s, down to 96 there on the microcopters. The type there, Silicon has taken a bit of damage. And it's mainly these basilisks, which are so fast, they've managed to get into combat range with the enemy forces very quickly. But because they're isolated, they're going to have no repair capabilities and might get picked off pretty easily, which is a shame. Looking at the rather nice Still Empire forces there, and then just trying to do a nice overview. You can see there on the basilisks dashing around, and its very fast erratic movement is keeping it safe. though it is being targeted by the enemies, and unfortunately it does crash into the target, taking a massive hit. It isn't dead yet, but it then takes another nasty strike, damaging it severely, meaning that it unfortunately is going to be disintegrating very soon, because those additional hits here and there cause a lot of damage. So again, I'm just trying to observe where the target is and thinking, right, that's the last one there, should maybe try and head over towards it. So, because my forces are not killing it, it's just not going down. So I do decide to take a bit of a jog over to it, but it's not that quick, so you just jump off. There's nothing nearby because I realise at this point the basilisk is dead. So just try and head over, but it's just too far away. But it does eventually, as I'm still a long way away, get AI deaded, so it disintegrates shortly anyway. Excellent, so the battle was finished there. I get to repair some of this stuff, like the mining thing. Twin Guard forces being attacked. And so what did we lose? Because I'm sure we lost a few things. Oh, we lost the pipeline. Ah, that's what that cheap thing was. I think we lost one of the basilisks. Yes, we lost one of the basilisks. One of the noodle tanks. So unfortunately, it did well though. They didn't have to dodge a lot of shells going forward, and they were one of the few things which actually got forward, because I think the rest of their force is fairly low on fuel. Oh no, it's okay. Huh. I wonder why they're running out of fuel in that battle. I suppose maybe because the ones with fuel moved apart. But yeah, so, but regardless. They're doing okay with fuel now, so I don't know why that was a bit of a problem. But there we go. Oh great, the Twin Guard force is blockaded by Onyx Watch and Twin Guard. Okay. Well, we'll do a triple battle again, because they're at least interesting. Ah, excellent. The Onyx Watch force is at last across the water, so we'll be able to move them forwards. Let's move the Comnet up as well. Okay, so we have the double battle with the Twin Guard and the Onyx Watch here, with our largest force, the Twin Guard force. Admittedly, it's large because it contains a lot of little drones, so I'm going to attempt to observe everything, but to be perfectly honest, it's going to be really hard to see what's going on, because the battle is going to be spread over a really large battlefield. So we have quite the large setup of our forces, and we are being essentially got a T formation in between the two enemies, so we're sort of encircling both forces at the same time, which is not a very good tactic, or they're technically flanking us, so whatever. We have enough forces to take on all of them, so let's see how we go. It is nice to have a overwhelming majority of forces when taking on two different factions at the same time. As we've seen there, the enemy are fighting between themselves. The lasers are all being fired from the Twin Guard and the Onyx Watch, along with the lasers from our own craft. The nice bright pink laser there showing it's doing well. So have a quick look at the Paladin there, and one of them playing some Michio has crashed. The other one is flying around doing a nice thing in the air. It's very, very nice flyer, considering how badly wings were, well, a lot of wings designs were broken. So it's good that it's working nicely. I was kind of expecting it to overcompensate and just fling itself straight into the ground there. So just having a quick little overview of the battle. Again, just because it's fairly standard sort of combat fare with the Onyx Watch. They're very, very stationary, and so it ends up resulting that our vehicles either move into position and then stop, and it's just a shooting match between the two forces. And hopefully by that point I have destroyed them enough that the Cram won't be annihilating me entirely with stationary vehicles. The Twin Guard though are, well, not much of a threat, and one of Charadon's tanks there is ramming into it, causing a lot of damage to itself, but also to the base of the target, and one of the bases there has been destroyed, making them so that they're unable to repair. and just stay alive just through sheer repair capability, which is more of an annoyance with the Twin Guard. I don't feel it actually makes them that particularly strong. They're fairly easy to disable, it just makes them irritating to fight in most cases. It doesn't mean that they lose a lot more repairs trying to kill themselves, but that seems to be the case. But despite their firing some simple lasers down, it has been firing particle accelerator. I have been observing that it has been firing. The nice broadsiders by the land ship there as well. Predator Annihilator coming in just in the background, simple lasers being fired down, creating some nice swarm of death. Looking around and seeing how we've done survivability, not really taking that much damage, considering we were, well, completely surrounded. I was expecting to take a lot more casualties and a lot more damage, particularly between friendlies. Though part of that could be because I've now moved back to centralised resources, I actually have enough materials to repair myself, which is very, very important. So just here, just observing how much life the enemy have, because they're spread over such a wide direction, as having difficulty just skimming back and forth across the battlefield just to try and observe anything worth watching. So I just did a bit of an overview, just try and figure out where the best of the fighting was going to be going, and I just couldn't really determine. See, this is what I was having to do, just skim around the battlefield, trying to find something alive to watch, because all our forces are essentially stationary, they've barely moved. Just because they've got a good line, good bead on their targets, they just sit still and murder things from a distance. So here I'm trying to jump down onto the target, completely fail, and it is getting completely murdered from all directions. Loads of lasers, loads of cannon shells, and it's really rather resilient. It's taking a right beating there. Again, this is the thing with the Twin Guard, they just take a long time to kill. Look at how long it takes. And then eventually it will take enough damage that it will be too damaged, and eventually it will disintegrate. There we go. Took it long enough. That was longer than other parts of this entire battle. Yikes. Yikes, that battle took a really long time to go. What did we lose? We just lost one of the Paladins. We almost lost one of the Cosmosolids, but it actually survived, so that is really good. So, we need to probably advance across the water, much like we did with the Onyx Watch, but at the moment, move it over to there, steal Empire Force, move over and probably attack this tile over here. Because I want to clear all these tiles out and claim them for our own. The Onyx Watch Force, I'm probably going to move up and attack this tile. But we're in a good position for materials, in fact. And it's going to give me enough time to repair and rebuild the forces for the next episode. So I'm going to leave the episode here. So thank you very much for watching this episode of From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire with myself, Anna Diffin. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a like and or comment below, as it is always great to hear from you lot. Also, be sure to check out the rest of my channel for more From the Depths videos and other games. And also be sure to swing by the Discord channel for more direct interactive chatting. Otherwise, that's it for me for now, and I shall see you next time. But until then, I'm out. Goodbye!